you don't know when that one little thing is gonna have a massive impact on somebody. I'm sure you've had it where somebody's like, "Do you
Mhm.
remember, 3 years ago when you said this to me?" And
Mm,
you're like, "I barely even remember that." And they're like, "That was such a huge deal, and it changed
right.
my life this way." And I think empowering your kids to really dig deep and figure out give them experiences
Right.
to figure out,
Allow them to make the choice that
mm,
fulfill their passion and find their purpose, not just go to school because everybody else is going and I have to do it. Welcome. I am Claudia Noriega-Bernstein, abundance coach, author, and host of the award-winning Don't Shrink to Fit podcast, which recently won the Woman in Podcasting Award in the coaching category. Over the past 15 years, I have the privilege of connecting with women from around the world, and I am here to share all the tools I have learned along the way to help you uncover new possibilities in your life. In this space, you will hear impactful stories from women who have walked in similar shoes, sharing their wisdom and insights. Each week, I welcome a new guest, open and ready to support you on your journey. Together, through spirituality and coaching, we will explore your passions, reveal your inner gifts, and embrace possibilities you may not have thought were within reach. Let's grow beyond limits so you never have to shrink to fit again. Hi, Anne. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Anne and
Good.
I met each other because we belong to the same group on Facebook, and we like to empower each other. So we're gonna have a conversation today about um, the different hats that women have to wear in their lives and how it's important to adapt and not be stuck in one role. So I want to welcome you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Me too. So I was reading in your bio that you started as a realtor, correct?
No.
No.
No, I do you want the whole long
Yeah,
version
tell
of
me. I
the
want to hear
story?
it.
Okay, so I'll make it quick. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My parents owned and operated a sign business when I was growing up. So they
Mm-hmm.
did like electric signs or window lettering or things like that. So I started working when I was really young because I was helping them in their business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think because they were really good at their craft, but they didn't have any business training, they really encouraged me when I went off to college to get a degree in business. So I studied international business, got out of school. I started working for a Japanese trading company, and
Wow.
I was actually in charge of exporting monster truck tires to
No
Japan.
way. Oh my gosh.
And then also importing Hannah Anderson, the clothing,
Mm-hmm.
like kids clothing. So that was one of my accounts, and then some other new business stuff. Um, I realized fairly early on, so this was in the like mid 90s. And at that time, I realized very quickly that there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for women in general, but especially a non-Japanese woman to
Mm-hmm.
advance very far in that company. So I went on, I went and worked in the buying offices for Meyer and Frank, which then was Macy's. And that was a whole other story. Went into interior design because that was something that I had always been interested in.
And
Um,
you still do that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a job. I still to this day am like, I don't even know how I got this job as an interior designer because I didn't. I had taken some classes, and I think working with my parents, I had some like basic knowledge of
Mm-hmm.
drawing to scale and things like that. But I started working for Ethan Allen, the furniture company, and was a
Wow.
designer there. And then started having kids, went out on kind of on my own. I had a business partner, realized that about probably 10 or 12 years into that, we were kind of going in different directions. And that's where I became. So there's like, that's when I decided to become a realtor, because that was something that I had always been interested in. Um, and I've been doing that for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and recently, I would say within the last like year and a half, 2 years, kind of started exploring other options, just because like the transaction side of real estate, I love the helping people part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but not even a year into being a realtor, I learned from one of the lenders that I was working with how
Mm-hmm.
to leverage equity in your home and invest in real estate, and that's like definitely what lit me up more than the transaction side of it. So my husband and I started doing real estate investing, and about a year and a half or 2 years ago, really realized that the lifestyle of a realtor of having to, and I mean, there's for sure things you can do not to be on call 24/7.
Right.
Um, but I found myself even getting kind of, I'm barely being honest, like a little bit annoyed that I was having to be away from my family when now my kids are older, and I was like, they're not going to be in my house very much longer. I want to enjoy
Right.
the time with them. So, um, that kind of set me off on this whole other journey of kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and how I could still maybe hold on to the real estate. But along the way, really, I call it a spiritual pursuit, like really
Mm-hmm.
getting in tune with like, what am I even on this earth to do? You know?
So
Um,
what you were doing is you were looking for your purpose.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that started with, I was taking a course. I feel like, when people start seeking, they start taking courses, and
Right.
there's a lot of overlap. But in this particular course, one of the things we looked at, have you ever heard of Ikigai, which is a Japanese, it's basically like a Venn diagram where you look at, it has you write down four things, like what are you good at? What do you like doing?
Mm-hmm.
What could you get paid for? And what does the world need? And
No,
so where all of those intersect is kind of like, this is your zone of genius, right? Like this
this
is
is
what
your calling. Right.
yeah. Um, so I did that, and it was like, okay, real estate investing, I'm good at it. I could make money doing it. And I'm not being disparaging to realtors at all. I just think for me, I was like, I don't think that's it for me, like
Mm-hmm.
just that. So, so then I kept seeking, and I was like, well, maybe if I'm teaching women how to invest in real estate, like that's a really positive thing. I started playing around with that a little bit, and I enjoy that, but still kind of felt like maybe that wasn't the only thing. Um, and then about a year ago, I took another course. It just came up through the company that we have that takes care of like legal and business accounting stuff. They had a course on teaching people. The title of it was like how to make money and save the world. And I was like, here I am. Like
There you go. This is for me, right?
yeah, yeah. So that's where I learned all about this shared housing model. And like the more I kind of dug into that, I was like, this is actually so many wins. It's not just a win for me or for the people that are getting housed. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually a win because I can teach women how to invest, and they can buy the homes that the nonprofit rents from them
Right.
for housing people that are in transition. So now you've got somebody building wealth through real estate while also providing